All right, welcome to our first YouTube live for the day. We're going to be talking about just BTC for this one, and then going on to the alts in another video. And like always, we have TikTok running on our live as well as our YouTube. So let's get started right away. We did see quite a bit of bearish volume since the last video. All of my trades long are taken out, some for a little bit of a profit, some for a little bit of a loss. But overall, we're just staying patient and waiting for the price to kind of give us something that is, in my opinion, has more of an edge that I can use. But for now, we're just quickly analyzing the market, seeing what happens. So one thing, this is the daily chart for the CME futures. We'll kind of go over the daily chart and 4 hour and hour. We're not really going to go over the weekly and monthly because we go over that so often. So on the CME futures here, one thing that I do see that still makes me look at the price action in a little bit more of a bullish sense, unless we break the $9,600 support, is still the rising buy volume that we are seeing. Yes, we do have a drop. It's significant, and that was a pretty significant move to the downside, but we do see that that drop didn't have nearly as much sell volume than we saw when the buyers picked it back up initially, and then even the next daily candle on here still shows that there's a tremendous amount of buy volume trying to push the price up. Now, for me, that is a bullish indication. Doesn't mean that this is the sure telltale all of what's going to happen, but the institutional players in the market control a lot of the volume that gets traded, and in the CME futures exchange, it does show that the buyers are still present, buying the dip on the pullback, seeing a tremendous amount of buy volume, and then the day after, we again see the very, very significant wick to the downside. It did close bearish, so it's a little bit more bearish, but nonetheless, we do see the buyers pick the price all the way back from 9,200, and it closes at 10.2. So those two candles kind of show me the amount of buyers are still present. And then going on to the other daily chart, which is going to be the Gemini exchange, we do see that the price is still holding our green zone of support. I'm not really looking to short until we see the price break this area of support and turn it into a new level of resistance. We see right here, this is the key zone of resistance and support. What I'm looking for a possible short is we need to break the current level of support and then retest it for a new level of resistance, validating it as a nice level of supply. So in my opinion, I personally would like to see a lower low form, and then I want to enter on the higher low. But at this point in time, I just think it's too early to short. It's still going according to plan, right? We lost this trade because we thought that this was the move up. It was not. We made a lower high than the previous high. So now we could see a potential lower high than that one. And then we see a nice squeeze. With trading, you sometimes got to take a few attempts at getting the trade you're looking for. For example, we're looking from zone to zone. Unfortunately, this time around, that zone did not work. And we are now going to be looking for a potential other zone for a move to the upside, still having the bias, and the bias will only change once we see the price break our key zone of resistance and support. Once we see a lower low come in, then we'll look to patiently wait until the lower high comes in, then we'll look to enter short. But as long as the price is above our zone of confluence here, I'm looking to long still. I'm looking to make money on the upside because we know that there is an area of buy pressure or an area of demand here that doesn't make sense to be shorting right above an area of demand. In my opinion, we see a less difficult pathway to get from here to here than it is to get from here to down here. Just my personal 2 cents. Also looking at CME futures, we know there's a lot of buyers at that area. So that's the overall outlook for the daily charts, and then we'll move on to the 4 hour. Let's look on here. So this is the 4 hour chart here, and I will draw in that nice level of support. I'm just going to see where this came from. Yeah, this is a pretty wide zone, so I think I'm going to narrow it down a little bit. I guess it goes pretty far that way. Okay, didn't need it to be that wide. So let's try to refine it a little bit more, just so we have a little bit more clear of a picture of where we are holding for supports. And I think that's that zone right there. I'm pretty happy with this area that we're calling a nice level of support. And what I'm also going to do is make it a little bit green, nothing crazy, but just a little bit different of a color. Actually, it's pretty hard to see the candles. I think that's a lot better. Even then, it's not the easiest to see. It's in the very front. Okay, I'm just going to leave it like that. But I'm probably going to make this a little lighter. Just a little bit easier to see. And I'm going to make this a little bit lighter as well, so it's a little bit easier to see. There we go. It's a little bit easier now. So we got a horizontal zone here that we are holding as a nice level of support, but on the Bitfinex exchange we do have quite a bit of a kill candle. Kill candle is like a major bearish candle that really instantly drops the price. That shows a tremendous amount of sell pressure. That is a kill candle because we see an immense amount of sell pressure within that single candle compared to really basically every other candle we saw. So definitely some sell pressure on the Bitfinex exchange, while on the CME futures it looks a little bit more bullish. So there's a little bit of contradicting indications on different exchanges, but like always we just got to work with it and see which one has the highest amount of confluence, and we'll just trade with the confluence. So we still got a resistance here that's turning into a nice level of support, and we're still holding support. We see a lot of wicks down below our support. We see wicks initially on the first candle, and then we see another long wick on the current 4-hour candle that we're in right now. Quite a bit of volatility in the markets right now. We saw a strong move to the upside on the 1 hour. After it tried to initially break down here, it climbed all the way back up, and then now we're getting the bears to try to come back in, and then it's sitting basically kind of at the open of the previous 1 hour candle. So quite a bit of volatility in here, lots of buying and selling going on. But for me personally, I do not really want to be entering because I don't really have an edge here. It can kind of go either way, and I don't really want to put myself in a position that would kind of be not gambling, but like I don't really have an edge in the market at this point in time. I don't have a squeeze. I don't have any real price action pattern other than a pullback validating a previous level of resistance as a new level of support. That's kind of all I have. I don't really have a squeeze, or I do have a nice zone of confluence here, but in my personal opinion, I think I'd rather see the price get a little bit away from our major zone, and then if we can possibly break this zone, then we have a little bit higher of a probability to move to the upside. But at this point in time, I think just because there's so much volatility in the market right now, we see a lot of buying and selling going on, and I don't really want to get involved in the market at this point in time. We'll look for other alts within the market, but with BTC, after that massive move to the downside, I'm going to kind of sit on the sidelines, see what happens, wait for a couple 1 hour, 4 hour candles, see what happens after breaking this little consolidation there. But you don't always have to be in a trade. You can sit back, wait, and be patient. Just going to quickly answer this question. AJENDRA said, bro, are you streaming in other platforms as well? Yeah, we're streaming on YouTube as well right now. So we're streaming on 2 different platforms. We're streaming on TikTok Live, and we're streaming on YouTube Live as well. So it's basically the overall structure of the 4-hour chart. We see lower highs. It would be nice to see a couple more lower highs here, squeezing the price, kind of creating a descending trend line. I wouldn't mind seeing that. That would be pretty good for us to potentially use within our edge. But it's either that, or you see some level of a consolidation and then a move up, or that's one option, and then option 2 would be the break, pullback, and then a move towards the downside. And then I would be wanting to enter at the completion of the exhaustion for the next impulse move to the downside. That would be the ideal situation for me to be looking to enter. But at this point in time, after the move down that BTC had, it doesn't make sense to just enter right away. We don't have to be constantly in a trade 24/7. Sometimes it makes sense to let the price action give you something that you know you have a higher edge on. You know that you've traded a particular pattern more than what you see right here. So it just doesn't make sense to enter. So that's what I'm sticking to. I'm sticking to my guns, and I am basically not going to enter until we see something a little bit more in my realm of trading in a sense, where it is just easy support and resistance. And yeah, theoretically, looking at the 1 hour chart, you could break it down in a way that would make sense to have enough confluence to enter. Oops, I gotta get the snip here to get all the way. So what do I mean by this? Well, initially you got two zones of confluence. So you got our descending zone right here connecting the lower highs. Well, look what you see right here was a previous level of resistance, which is now going to be a nice level of support. Also, we see a resistance right here, horizontally speaking, and then turns into a new support. And then we can also say, hey, this is going to be a new support. So yeah, we can say that this is technically a zone of confluence for the support or the bulls, because there's more than one area within this range that is giving us an indication that there's buyers, or there's going to be buyers within that given location. So in a sense, theoretically, yes, there is a confluence of demand, more or less kind of like right here, because the descending zone doesn't stick out all the way over here. It's kind of within this range right here. So the buyers are holding it within the 1 hour chart. Let's just zoom in here and kind of look at the structure of the consolidation, because we got a tremendous amount of sell pressure on the way down, obviously, but within the actual consolidation, we are seeing more buy volume come into the market here. Let me just look right here. So what we've seen is massive wick to the downside. Makes sense that there's a tremendous amount of volume coming in. And then also on the downtrend, when we're making those lower low and lower highs, this is a lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, higher low, right? This is a low, this is a higher low, and then we broke to make a higher high than the previous, and then we started making an uptrend. And then we hit a resistance. We moved our stop loss up because we entered right here. And then once the price held this support like so, we moved our stop loss from below this zone to then above right here to around there. So then we took a little bit of profits, not a whole lot, obviously. We were looking for quite a bit more than what was given, but we managed our risk. We guaranteed our profits by moving our stop loss up above, right below a support. So that's not so bad. We did what we could. Unfortunately, we didn't get the whole move towards the upside. We were looking for another pullback like so, and then a move towards the upside. That next impulse move did not occur, but that's okay. Can't get them all, and we're just going to stay patient until the next one. So we see another level of confluence, or we see another situation where we have an edge within the market. So that is the charts that we're going to be looking at. Basically, there's not a whole lot more to talk about in terms of where we could go from here on the hour chart. Like I said, we got our green zone, which is our major zone of demand. We got the area of the green zone of the support is around $9,400 at the low and around $9,600, let's say, at the high. But anything within that range, in my opinion, is going to be a support, and I'd like to see the price break the zone there before I look for any short opportunities. Fellow trader here from Barbados. Hello from Barbados. Bitcoin, yep, this is BTC. We do a BTC analysis every single day. So that's basically my analysis. At this point in time, we're not really looking to put an entry on BTC. We'll look for other alts within the market, but we just had to dump back to our major key level of support. And the only real thing I see that we could have a potential on for a long is we have a nice descending triangle here, and then we see a couple more validations of the descending trend line, and then we get a squeezing of the price because we have a horizontal support and a descending trend line squeezing us towards the apex of the pattern. Let's get our snip here. So this is kind of the only long opportunity I see right now, where you have lower highs. This is a high, this is a lower high. If we get a couple more validations of a lower high, then we can kind of create that descending trend line we're looking for to create the descending triangle pattern where you got a horizontal support and a descending trend line creating lower highs. And then obviously you're looking for the break either to the downside or upside, and then you'll trade that however you trade triangles. Each person trades them a little bit different. We have our own system, but yeah, that's exactly what we're looking for BTC. And then now we're going to go on to the different tools that we have within the market. This is going to be the first one that we have. This is the comparison versus the longs and shorts within the market. The top candle right here is representing the longs within the Bitfinex chart on the daily, and then this orange line represents the shorts within the same time frame and the same exchange. So it's just representing, in my opinion, the confidence from the bears and bulls within the market. Now, what we saw at the start of December in 2019 is we saw an influx of confidence from the buyers. We saw a tremendous amount of buy pressure from the buyers push the price up, really breaking any level of kind of resistance we've had in the past. So this is an all-time high for the Bitfinex chart here, where this is the highest amount of buy orders that were placed. This is the highest amount of confidence that the buyers had within the chart, basically. And then we got a massive move to the upside, breaking the reverse head and shoulders, right? And then this is our consolidation. Well, we initially hit the $9,100 zone, and then we consolidated for a little bit, making lower lows and lower highs, and then we hit the previous high. Let's see it right here. So that was this move right here, and this consolidation right here was this consolidation right here. So we've been talking about it for a while, but what's intriguing is the fact that we lost quite a bit of confidence from the bulls, but we didn't have any confidence from the sellers, so the price didn't go down that much. Because if there's not a lot of sell pressure pushing the price down, even if there's not a lot of buy pressure, the price isn't going to go down significantly, right? But then now what we see is now there's an increase in the amount of sell confidence in the market, right? We like right here when the price was going down, yeah, we were getting a little bit higher highs, but we weren't really seeing the higher high, higher low structure that we were seeing right here. Recently, in start of February onwards, we're seeing quite a bit of sell pressure increase. There's more sellers gaining confidence in the market. Now, there is still significant buy pressure within the market because the buyers hit the previous high there, creating a resistance, which for me is a pretty significant move towards the upside for the confidence in the bulls. And now we're getting a little bit of a correction. We know that this is our key zone within the chart, that we are kind of hitting max confidence for the bulls, and then we have quite a large range that we're working with right now. So the confidence is pretty volatile within the buyers, but we are making a little bit of the way down, which makes sense. But one thing also to notice is the fact that we're not really breaking our key structural highs for the sellers as well. Once we broke this, there was a level of support here for the sellers that they were not able to get below. So there was a confidence in the sellers that didn't really go below a certain area. And basically in 2019, once 11K, 13K, 14K hit, then basically all the confidence from the sellers were taken away. And then now we see the previous support act as a new level of resistance. So now we have a level of resistance that sellers are unable to get above, meaning that the sellers have a limited amount of confidence available in a sense, whereas the buyers have a previous level of resistance right here, which is now going to be acting as a new level of support. So overall, the confidence, in my opinion, is still looking a little bit more towards the buy side. We will have some sort of hesitation, I'm sure, which makes sense here. So it makes sense that we are in a pullback, and that's why we're going to be patient. We're going to be really making sure that we are trying to find the best edge we can within the market and then entering on that edge. So that's the overall structure of the buy and sells. We don't really see a higher high form on the sell side structure, which is a little bit surprising since the massive move towards the downside. But I guess this is a pretty strong resistance. If we do break this zone, this kind of mid-range zone right here, then we will have to reconsider. And especially if BTC comes down all the way back to here, then we might have to reconsider, because then the edge, or not, the confidence within the buyer and sellers could be shifted. The supply and demand could be shifted, so we don't exactly know. We'll see what the next few days brings. We'll see if the price is able to hold our support zone, which is, like we said, around the $9,500 area. If we're able to hold that zone, we'll probably get the buyers to pick the price back up. But if we break below it, we'll probably get a dump from the buy confidence and a sharp spike up from the sell side confidence. So we'll see how the next few days comes. But at that point in time, that is kind of all we are doing. Hello, Halo Hut from TikTok. All right, so the last thing that we're going to be looking at is the long short positions that were opened within the 24-hour and 1 hour time frame. So we have 3 different exchanges that we're going to be looking at. We have BitMEX first. We'll talk about that. So within the 24-hour time frame that we're going to be looking at initially, BitMEX is a little bit more bearish. We see that out of 100, 53.7% are short, whereas only 46.3% of people that are long. On Binance, same sort of story, 54% of people that are short and only 46% of people that are long. So a little bit more towards the short side for sure. And then Bybit, same sort of thing, 53% of people that are short and only 47% of people that are long. So definitely on the 24-hour time frame, there are more short sellers. So on the longer time frame, there are more people looking to try to make money on the downside than on the short side. Now looking at the 1 hour time frame, this is a more recent time frame that we're looking at. We see that on BitMEX, the shorts are still in charge with 53% in charge compared to 47% for the bulls. On Binance, same thing, 54% for the shorts, 47% for the bulls. On Bybit, same thing, 55% versus 45%. So overall, we do see the shorts taking more of the confidence, both from different exchanges and also kind of looking at what we saw right here, where the shorts aren't really taking control yet, but we do see that they could be looking to potentially break this out. I'm just going to draw this trend line here to see if we did break out. So if we actually draw a descending trend line, that's looking a little bit worrying for the bulls. We'll see what the next few days are going to come here, because we don't exactly, this is why we're looking to wait to see if we're going to break, because we're at a pretty pivotal zone right now, and I want to kind of be ensured that we're going to stay patient, and I don't mind waiting for the lower low, and then we'll potentially enter on the lower high to catch that nice short on the downside with the reverse from the higher high, higher low situation to the lower high, lower low situation. That is ideally what we're looking to do. So we're not going to enter just yet for a short or anything. We're going to be stay patient. We're going to really make sure that we have the best possible opportunity to try to get a good win here. So that is the overall analysis for BTC. I hope you enjoyed it. Yeah, this is TradingView. And if you have any other questions, just drop them in either the YouTube chat room or TikTok, and then I'll be able to answer any questions you have. Just looking at one thing. But yeah, I don't really see any real questions coming in. So that was the overall analysis. I hope you enjoyed it. I will update everyone if something comes up. But for right now, I think we're just going to stick kind of on the sidelines on BTC, see what kind of price action pattern or structure that it will give me that I'm able to enter in. But for now, we're just going to stick on the sidelines and stay patient. So I hope you enjoyed this analysis. If you have any questions, drop a comment. And until next time, happy trading.